crowns. None of us did. But I guess as time passed, we stopped asking all the questions we had at first. We were just glad our friend was back with us. He could work for us. He became our servant in a way. Someone who drew in the crowds.
They were the stories that have charmed an entire generation. From the books to the television series, people around the world have grown up with the railway stories, and all their cheerful characters. But the truth behind Thomas and his friends was no children's fantasy. The truth would be horrifying. It is 1945, and the remote island of Sodor, off the northwest coast of England, has emerged from the fog of World War II, relatively unscathed and untouched.
The island served as a detention camp for Germans living in England. That's how Professor came to be here.
Professor Wilhelm Goetze was born in 1903 in Munich, Germany. A doctor in biology, he became a prominent advisor to the ruling party in the 30s.
Wenn die älteren Jahrgänge noch wanken werden könnten, die Jugend ist uns verschrieben und verfallen mit Leibesgeschehen.
In 1939, as war escalated, he, his wife Olga, and 4-year-old son Hans fled the country.
Tja, ich habe nie einen solchen Befehl bekommen. Ihr habt einmal gefragt, nicht wahr? Am 14. Mai 1942 war der Großadmiral Räder und ich bei ihm.
That's what he wanted people to believe. The fact is, his experiments were hard to stomach even for his own people.
In truth, he had become a prominent figure in the government, but as his work progressed, questions and objections had been raised in the higher echelons of the Reich.
His work with genetics and DNA was truly pioneering. The cracking and manipulating of the human genome. What Professor Goetze was most successful in, however, was keeping his history a secret until his death.
In an attempt to gain favour among the German hierarchy, Wilhelm Goetze was at the forefront of the government's most fanatical policies. In 1938, he was influential in instigating the infamous Sajmelnacht, the Night of Sawdust. But as his experiments advanced, he became a much less popular figure and soon feared for his and his family's lives.
As soon as he escaped to England, he was banged up here. But locals were nice to him. There was no hostility, and many of them chose to live here after the war.
Following their release, Professor Goetze, Olga and young Hans chose to remain. After studying under his father, Hans left at the age of 18 and went to university on the mainland, studying biology and engineering, writing several pioneering papers about genetics and the splicing of DNA with mechanical implants.
He called it biofusion, the technique of manipulating genetic material to splice with mechanical attachments. However, much like his father, the British government became more and more concerned with Hans Goetz's proposals. So he was forced to seek financial backing from home.
His dad left Germany with quite a few bob, so Hans came back. He saw our little island as some sort of refuge where he could work in peace. Soon every nutcase and eccentric was coming over.
By 1962, Hans had set up Sodor Research, a small lab near the town of Alsborough, but soon the enterprise began supplying medical equipment and machinery, and quickly grew to become a large complex, comprising its own links to the growing Sodor rail system.
Young Abby Collins from the town was working there when Professor Hans took a liking to her. Soon they were married, and not long after, the town was buzzing with news of her pregnancy.
Baby Thomas was born in 1968. Throughout the early years of his life, he would watch the growing railway network with fascination.
He couldn't get enough of trains. His dad bought him one of the first video cameras, and he'd be on the platforms every day. You can see me in some of those tapes.
Hiya, Mr. Hartley.
Morning, Thomas. But he was friends with everyone, even that simple bloke who could only say where he lived.
Sodor.
But his favourite trains were the old steam engines.
Steam engines were a dying art on the British mainland, but Hans also had a fondness for them, much like his son, and likes to keep them running for our purposes, taking orders from the labs to the growing docks, or to the mainland to be transferred to modern postal express trains.
But as the Sodor rail system expanded, it found itself increasingly under the supervision of the new British rail network and appointed a new controller.
Boy, get off my f***ing platform!
Sir Topham Hatt. Born into money, he took his ridiculous name to heart and started wearing a top hat all the time. Of course, we islanders had a different name for him.
Fat bastard. You've never met such a cold-hearted as him. He banned all steam engine volunteers and cut most at rail employees, shut down the branch line and the smaller stations. He was happy to let the railway rust away, just like they did to main line.
But the fortunes of the railway were about to take a profitable turn, a stroke of luck for the island that would result from tragedy.
Come on, we're gonna be late.
What's the time?
Thomas, get moving.
Young Thomas loved following railway. He'd be out all the time, hoping to catch a new train on his camera.
11:45's coming through soon.
He won't wait for us.
Unfortunately, he didn't take as much notice of the safety signs.
I'm not being late again.
Have we missed it yet? Wait for the 11:45.
Never mind the 11:45.
It must be late again.
Thomas, come on.
It's always held up.
Hans was mortified. He disappeared from public view and into the labs. Locking himself in, he wouldn't allow anyone in there. Eventually his father Wilhelm came to see him.
In a few days, a major laboratory had been locked down, followed by an engine maintenance shed, which was to become off-limits to all.
All production was shut down, orders weren't met, but the two Professor Goetzes didn't care. More and more equipment was being delivered daily, but no one was allowed in Shed 17.
Questions started being asked on Sodor. Where were the Goetzes? Would there be no funeral for young Thomas? And where was the body?
They'd arranged for Thomas to be transferred to a mainland hospital. He'd been taken to the complex but was never moved by rail. We all assumed the obvious, he was still in lab.
But if Thomas was there, was he still alive? And what was the purpose of keeping him at the complex? Almost a year after the accident, the doors of Sodor Research were reopened. In an open invitation to the people of the island, Thomas rolled out of Shed 17.
The took me a moment to realise what it was I was looking at. When he looked at me and said,
Hiya, Mr. Hartley.
it dawned on me what Hans Goetzer and his dad had done. One woman passed out as Thomas smiled at us. I had to run off round the side of the shed.
Hey, are you alright, Keith?
As news spread across the country, the world's media rushed to Sodor Island.
They kept trying to interview me. I became a bit of a celebrity.
Controversy on Sodor Island. Questions asked about science ethics.
It's fair to say I was pretty nervous at times,
Joined now by Keith Hartley.
but I think I put on a brave face.
What did you think when you first came to meet Thomas the Tank Engine?
Most of my mates said I looked pretty good on telly. The mayor said I'd represented the people of Sodor very well. It's important to show you're confident when people are asking you awkward questions.
Good evening. An act of mercy or a crime against humanity? I am joined now by Keith
Even when
Hartley.
some of the questions got difficult, I made sure I knew what I was talking about.
What was your reaction when you first met a talking tank engine?
If you can't make an informed opinion, or if you can't string together two words on telly, well, maybe you shouldn't be on there.
There are two sides to this.
Admittedly,
We've
the
read
subject
one
matter was a bit
lot.
bizarre
Let's hear the other
sometimes.
one. There are some dark forces at work here.
You were alright as long as you could win over the audience.
See this, they're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
The Goetzer family refused to answer any questions. Behind closed doors, the only question they agreed to answer had been asked repeatedly. Would Thomas work on the railway? The response was an emphatic no.
Thomas's DNA had been reprogrammed to accept and adapt to the engine structure, using the engine's internal system to maintain his organic functions. What no one could be sure of was how much of the engine was mechanical and how much was organic material.
Thomas had been able to move around without coaches, but to work on the railway, his engine would need to be fired up and operated by a driver and fireman.
Since no one could be sure how much of the engine was Thomas, the pressure caused by the engine could rupture his organs from the inside, and the incredible heat could boil him alive. Professor Hans and his father vowed Thomas would never work on the railways.
Similarly, the two professors were to refuse many requests by people from around the world who wished to be biofused into engines.
There were billionaires offering to pay whatever they wanted to be converted into an engine or some other transport. Train enthusiasts too, and people with terminal illnesses were desperate to be made into trains. But for some reason, the Goetzers refused.
But there would be other interested parties, eager to seize on the biofusion goldmine. The independently wealthy Topham Hatt staged a hostile takeover and within weeks had bought a controlling share in Sodor Research.
Immediately, the policy of the company changed, and so did the ethics. The medical supply wing was shut down, and work began on mass biofusion experiments and operations. Anyone who could afford it, some handing over their whole fortunes, were turned into engines.
But, along with the new policy, there would be worse to come. Biofused engines would be allowed, then obliged, to work on the railways.
The first one we fired up was James. He didn't have the money some of these people had, and so agreed to basically sign his life away if they wanted to experiment further, or to take massive risks like this. As usual, the fat had everything recorded. All kept classified, you understand.
These recordings, shown for the first time, reveal the extent of Sir Topham Hatt's experiments.
It was horrible watching these engines work on the railways some days. But the tourists wanted to see it. They expected it. And for me, it was work.
But, With the new engine's increasing work schedule came more and more accidents.
Edward was first to have problems. He'd been filming all day for the new TV series they'd announced, and for his last scene, he had to pull into Wellsworth Station and whistle to the kids on the platform.
Peep, peep! Whistle.
Perfect for this? If so, then I will solve one of my main problems, which is it. I can either nickel plate these battery terminals, but they are old, you know, and it's better to replace them for new ones. This one's good. Same, we need a battery terminal for that. Nice, it's working. Again, it does not come with the battery, with the middle wheel, which is nice. And it's Thomas, you can tell by the running board. It's the original Thomas. Let me know in the comments about this model. Yeah, I think I had 5 maybe that I remember over the years. I think those are the first to arrays. 1992. 1992 is the year. And we have Spencer. That's getting slower, and it's... Oh, let me tell you something. All the models that I replaced the battery terminals, they start running faster. This one works. They run faster once you replace the battery terminal. They got more power. Even if you, I had the opportunity to test those models with new battery terminals, and they run faster. Faster. So this Emily also just needs a battery terminal and it should be good. Spencer is running good. Okay, that one. Here is another Percy. 4 parts. Oh, the rail. Okay. 2002. So even if you see this 1994, but we still have the 2002, that means the year is 2002. This one is really good battery terminal. It will come with a good battery terminal, and it's kind of loud. I'm gonna put Spencer to the side. I can hear this motor. It's kind of dry, make that sound. Maybe you don't hear it, but it makes a really bad sound. And the next we have is a play rail here. Let's see what's the problem with this guy. I see nothing in there. There's no problem. I see it's okay. Yeah, I like to clean this very deep cleaning. Oh, it's working. It's really good. Oh, it does have a stress corner here and here, but not a big deal. Is it missing something? I think it's missing something on the top. See this? I think it's missing a piece or something, but it's fast. Where's the tender? It's fast and quiet. Oh, I can't put it on. Okay. Fast and quiet. That's good. Good hero. Toby. 2005 Tommy. Yeah, it needs a lot of cleaning. Oh, this has been bent. So I'm getting the battery terminal for this kind of models from old. I'll show you in a minute. I don't have any. Oh, right here I have another C battery. Let me show you in a minute. I'm gonna pause it. See these beat up tenders? They are not really good. They are broken. They broke really easily. So I got this large battery terminal out of these tenders. Actually, I got a lot a couple days ago. You can no longer use this. Even if you try to fix them, they break easily. So here is the battery terminals I'm talking about. They need to be bigger. Yeah, I have a lot. I'm getting the best that I can and fix some good ones. Okay, let's see about Toby. Toby is in working order. There's some sticky, I think it's glue. It's kind of a little slow. No, it's running. It's running. Okay. Okay, what's next? I think I have Harvey. Harvey's motorized coach, and here is Harvey. These are Tommy. Yeah, they need a deep cleaning. I thought for a moment it broke, but it sounds like it broke, but it's not. I mean, talking about this, but it does come with a chipped corner. Decals are kind of old. I might replace them. Yes. And let's see what's going on with this. Oh man, look at that heavy corrosion. Oh, it just broke. Let me. I'm gonna leave it like that. But I saw it just broke that part. Maybe there is a way to test the motor. There's deep corrosion. These are easy. We can just put the spring battery terminal and we are good to go. Man, I will not be able to test this. There's no way, because I want to put this on the video, but hold on. Yeah, it just came off. Look. It just came off. It was really bad. I don't know if I can make it. I can't grab it. I'm trying. Okay. It powers on, so that's good. I'm gonna leave this poor guy like that. It's in terrible shape. There's two more. I'm gonna put this here. And it's diesel 10. It looks like diesel 10 eats something and he did not wipe out his face. Look at those tires. 2004. Oh wow. So this specific battery terminal cannot be found. There is no way, since this was kind of specific. I'm trying to scrape it off. A specific design is not available anywhere, and this is one of those battery terminals that definitely can be restore it. I mean, I need to pull